This is to send you our periodical EAPTC missions update with a virtual presentation. Through your partnership of prayer and financial giving and our obedience to the call for the nations, God has been doing great things in the Philippines and the nations at large. Just so you know, the Philippines is known for its noise, traffic, and weather. And it was notoriously known as the country that had one of the longest COVID lockdown, 2.5 years. Thanks to your prayers and financial giving, we were able to equip the leaders and plant churches in this turbulent environment, especially during the pandemic season. While Paul is committed to teach and train the leaders from over 20 Asian countries, in collaboration with the International Graduate School of Leadership in Manila and several other international seminaries, Eunice has been mentoring their wives and children. One of the greatest joys of our work is to partner and witness fruit and suffering of our trainees and disciples ministering around the world. There are a series of testimonies and anecdotes of such marvelous deeds he is doing among the nations. The latest advancement of online communication made it possible for us to reach deeper into the ministry of our disciples who serve in nations that are restricted to gospel sharing and hostile to Christian presence. For decades, we've tirelessly worked in Africa and Asia to raise Christian leaders. 48 of the 50 most persecuted global churches are found in those two continents. In 2021, top 50 most difficult countries to follow Christ included Pakistan, India, Sudan, China, and Vietnam. We've been reaching out to those challenging countries through leadership training and church planting. Indeed, they still do not guarantee the liberty of worship for Christians, albeit far more developed economically than in the past. Pastor Q, serving in Vietnam, are one such example of Christian leaders committed to discipling young professionals in ominous environments. Pastor An and his wife have been in our mentoring group while undergoing ministerial training in the Philippines before they returned to India. Their devoted work continues to bear the fruits of new church plants and leadership training in hostile communities. Over 95% Muslim-dominated nation, Pakistan stands out as one of the countries where women and children are neglected and mistreated. Mrs. N, who Eunice taught the importance of children's ministry during her seminary training in the Philippines, has gone back to Pakistan and is now reaching out to the least of the society through children's ministry among the poor. At the onset of the coronavirus outbreak, the work of the Evangelical Alliance for Preacher Training and Commission has been moving more secretively due to increased regulation and exhaustive surveillance imposed on churches and pastors by the Chinese government in the name of community quarantines. All internet content is monitored in China. It is interiorly difficult for someone who marks as Christian on his identification card to find decent jobs except low-paying and often degrading jobs in most of the countries just mentioned. It is our sheer privilege to equip those suffering servants around the world through the sacrificial prayer and giving of dedicated mission partners like you. With sincere empathy and agonized intercession for what our co-workers and disciples go through each day, we're happy to be their hands and feet to serve them with training and encouragement. It's extremely rewarding to see them share Christ's hope and love where His light is still dim. Once again, thank you for standing with us for the cause of the Great Commission. Your generous supports enabled thousands of Christian leaders to be raised and equipped for God's kingdom, and hundreds of new local churches planted in 15 countries of Africa and Asia since 1996. Thank you for your faithful partnership and companionship for this eternal cause. Blessings.